paper on your Android-powered smartphone, on Apple's iPhone, or on your laptop. We have a solution for any device. E-Edition is free for subscribers, or just $7.99 a month. The Bakersfield Californian. We're everywhere and anytime. Subscribe today. Bakersfield.com.
Roadrunner Rundown on Bakersfield.com and the CSUB Roadrunners Digital Network. Live from the Dignity Health Studios in downtown Bakersfield, California.
Hey, welcome in. Once again, another edition of Roadrunner Rundown, the official program, CSUB Roadrunner Athletics. I'm Corey Costello. Hey, thanks so much for joining us on the program on Bakersfield.com, or maybe later on down the time-space continuum on GoRunners.com on demand. Thanks so much for joining us once again for another edition of the program. We got a good show for you today. We got a great show for you today. We're going to be talking with Bryan Wilmert coming up in the next segment. Bryan is he's a thrower. He's actually already been on Roadrunner Rundown as a participant in Corey Versus. He was the hammer thrower that basically showed you how it was done as opposed to what I did. But nonetheless, he is the WAC. He was the WAC Thrower of the Week last week, and he actually had a great fourth-place finish this past weekend at USC. So we'll chat with Bryan. He's a local guy as well, went to Bakersfield's Liberty High School, so we'll chat with him coming up in the next segment as the track team gets ready to head over to San Luis for a meet this weekend. Also on the program, our friend Molly O'Hagan will join us from CSUB Sand Volleyball. Molly, a junior, and the Roadrunners, they finally get they're just in their second year of sand volleyball competition. They finally get a home match. Their new sand volleyball courts, the facility is done, and they're going to be hosting a couple of home matches here in the next few weeks. Wednesday of this week against Oregon, and then next weekend against both USC and San Jose State at the sand volley. We don't even have a name for it yet. We're just calling it the sand volleyball courts. Nonetheless, they are very cool, and we'll talk to Molly about that. Next week on the show, actually, we'll probably have Steve Barnes, who was very instrumental in that project, on the show, and it looks phenomenal. It is great, and they actually trucked the sand in from San Juan Capistrano, so it's pretty cool, and it's a great facility, and the runners will be home. So we'll talk with Molly about some home volleyball coming up this weekend, some home sand volleyball coming up this week. So she'll join us on the program as well. And also, final segment of the program, we bring back our Behind Enemy Lines segment. Well, he's a guy who's not really an enemy. He's actually a Bakersfield native and a former coach out at Taft College, but Ryan Wigley is going to join us. He is an assistant coach with Utah Valley now, and the Wolverines are going to be in town this weekend taking on the Roadrunners in the Western Athletic Conference softball opener. So Wigley back in town. We'll chat with him coming up in the final segment of the program, and good to reconnect with him again. And he, of course, did a lot in this town for softball for years ago, and in the last several years at Taft College, and then even private lesson stuff, the Players Edge facility, which was a great indoor facility for a while here in town, he was a part of. So we'll talk with him about his Wolverines and the matchup with the Roadrunners this weekend at the softball complex. So that to get to and more on the program. We'll have a new edition of Corey Visits as well as I take you into my trip to the WNIT. But let's head to that. As a matter of fact, let's go to the WNIT where CSUB women's basketball will hit the highlights. First round Friday at St. Mary's, small crowd, but a fast start early. Bakersfield jumps out to a 7-0 lead. Melissa Sweat there, and then now the three-pointer here. And then Tiana Outland with the steal for the Roadrunners. She's going to go coast to coast with the finish. Great start for Bakersfield. They led by as many as 9 after this Melissa Sweat layup as well. St. Mary's, though, experienced in the postseason and experience in the post. Their size big, Sabrina Ingolstadt with the layup, then Danielle Molden with the jumper. St. Mary's went on a 14-1 run, capped by this Molden layup. They built an 8-point lead at the first half. Runners, though, snap out of it. Brooke Hinkins with a three-pointer of three of her 9 points from the outside. Outland then ties it with this layup, but St. Mary's closes the half on a 5-0 run. Second half, much like the first, Bakersfield weathering the gale storm with three-pointers. Here's Deji Vines with 3 in 4 possessions. There's 1. And Vines again from way outside. There is 2. And look at this one. Look at her. She's on the near side. She's calling, give me the ball, give me the ball, give me the ball. And she hits 3. and ties the game at 37 with 17:30 to play. Then China Outland giving the Runners a 39-37 lead with this drive and finish. Back and forth for the next few minutes. Runners down 3. Brooke Hinkins ties it again with another three-pointer with 14:28 to play, but St. Mary's using Jackie Nard, leading scorer, big-time step-back 3 there. Then another back-and-forth affair. China Outland, though, going to tie it with a 3 off the glass. Nard, though, not backing down. She hits a jumper to put St. Mary's up for good. Then the whistle monster gets Bakersfield. St. Mary's at the line 39 times in the game. Bakersfield just 11. That was the difference down the stretch. St. Mary's wins 75-67, ending Bakersfield's season. Melissa Sweat, China Outland, each scoring 20 points apiece. St. Mary's wins 75-67. A good showing by Bakersfield. It was a great game. And the Roadrunners in their first WNIT, great showing against a St. Mary's team. The RPI was actually 48, which is crazy. So a very good basketball team. The Roadrunners taking them to the limit, but wasn't going to be enough to beat St. Mary's. Meanwhile, Bakersfield, that ends their season at 19-13. On to baseball. The Roadrunners winning the series this past weekend against North Dakota. Let's check out Friday's score. The Roadrunners winning the first game of that series, 4-1, and Taylor Aikenhead throwing 10 strikeouts to lead Bakersfield to a 4-1 win. He was named WAC Pitcher of the Week for the second week in a row. Then on Saturday, Bakersfield getting in a wild 11-10. I mean, all sorts of hits, runs, weird plays. The game ends on a 6-4-3 double play as the tying run was about to score. Bakersfield with an 11-10 win. Max Carter had 3 RBIs for the Runners, along with 3 hits for Bakersfield. And then let's head to the field on Sunday, out to the ballpark. Austin Davis on the mound, redshirt lefty, not his best stuff, but effective. Problem is he didn't get any defense when he needed it. Here comes a walk there, but then then the defense kind of, which was in Bakersfield's strong point, letting them down there. Runners should have had an inning outs. North Dakota scores 2 on that play. They end the inning leading 3-0. Not much offense for Bakersfield either. Lots of this. Jeff Campbell on the mound throwing a complete game. Lots of ground balls for the Runners. Lots of pop-ups as well as they keeps Bakersfield off the bases. More offensive gaffes, more defensive gaffes as Jordy Hine grounds out here as well. More defensive gaffes, though, for Bakersfield in this one. This should have been coming up an ending double play once again, but this time right to second base, but the throw from Metzger is low, and it gets by Sinai. They give up 4 unearned runs in the game. Runners trailing 6-0, though, in the ninth. Bats finally get going. Oscar Sinai coming up for the Roadrunners at the plate. The RBI triple goes into the corner, the second triple of the inning. And then Alan Gwynn at the plate for CSUB as well, as one comes in to score here. And then Alan Gwynn with the RBI single to the right side. Not enough, though. 6-3. North Dakota wins that one on Sunday, so the Runners couldn't quite get the sweep. They do win the series, which is always important in conference play. Runners lose it 6-3. And so Bakersfield will be at home this weekend. Actually going to go, on the road this weekend. They go to Utah Valley for their first road Western Athletic Conference Series. First ever meeting with Utah Valley as well. Friday at 6 o'clock Mountain, Saturday 6 o'clock Mountain, Sunday at noon. Bakersfield at Utah Valley, their first road trip in Western Athletic Conference play. On to Roadrunners softball. Bakersfield, softball plays a lot of games in a weekend. I got to hand it to them. They're always busy. They were at the Northridge tournament this past weekend, and checking out Sunday's scores, Bakersfield with a 3-2 win over Pacific on the early game on Sunday. Sydney Raber, game-winning sacrifice RBI as Amber Mills tops a complete game win for the Roadrunners, and then Bakersfield falling to host Northridge 4-2 in that one. CSUB at home Wednesday against Cal State Fullerton in a non-conference doubleheader starting at 1, and then they open conference play, as we mentioned earlier, against Utah Valley Friday at 2 with a Saturday doubleheader starting at 1 o'clock as well. Couple other sports in action. Let's go to the pool. In water polo, Bakersfield falling to number 4 Cal in MPSF play 19-10. This one actually was tied 4-4 after the first quarter. Cal then scored 6 goals on their next 6 possessions to take control. Bakersfield off this week, but guess what? They finally get to come home. Water polo been on the road this entire year. They're going to be a first time on April 5th. They will be home as they host number 2 UCLA at 1 o'clock at the Hillman Aquatic Center. So finally a home match for Bakersfield water polo, although it is definitely going to be a tough one against number 2 UCLA on April the 5th. And finally, in wrestling, Bryce Hammond, congratulations go out to him. 174-pounder Bryce Hammond took 8th at the NCAA Nationals, earning All-American honors for the program. Hammond won 4 straight matches in the Wrestlebacks bracket after losing the opening match. Hammond, also the 2-time Pac-12 champion at 174 pounds. That's the file video we have there, is him winning the Pac-12. But 8th place finish at Nationals, not too shabby. Bryce Hammond, 174 pounds, All-American as well. So congratulations to him and Roadrunners Wrestling. Well, this past weekend, this past Friday, Roadrunners women's basketball, as we saw in the highlights, at their first WNIT tournament. It was the 3rd postseason appearance for Bakersfield, but the first in the WNIT. And we took our Corey Visits cameras along to follow the ladies as they get ready for their WNIT
Nestled up in these hills, well, very far up in these trees in the Bay Area. I mean, really far up in these hills. How can people say Bakersfield's from the sticks? Look at this place. It's St. Mary's College, a member of the WCC, a perennial competitor in the WNIT tournament, and the first-round host site for CSUB women's basketball. While it was a first for Bakersfield in this tournament, the Gales had been here plenty of times before. But on the day of the game, it was obvious that Bakersfield was ready and the Roadrunners weren't about to be awestruck playing in this tournament. It was the 3rd postseason berth for Bakersfield at the NCAA Division I level after a pair of WBI appearances a few years ago, but their first trip to this long-standing WNIT tournament, and that wasn't lost on head coach Greg McCall.
This is so huge. I can't stress it enough how big this is for our program. This is a national, I guess, recognition that we're getting right now. Going to the WNIT, this is the 2nd best tournament in the nation. You got the NCAA and this, and so you can't beat this. This has been around actually for a long time, longer than the NCAA on the men's side, and then they brought the women's side on. So great national recognition.
With that recognition comes expectations, and although the crowd was small at St. Mary's, the atmosphere was still ripe for March Madness. Bakersfield played very well, one of their best games of the season against a team whose RPI was in the top 50 in the nation. Bakersfield made some great plays, some great runs, but in the end, it was the more postseason experienced St. Mary's getting the win. However, Bakersfield yet again proved they're taking the right steps in building their Division I program.
Again, a great game out of the ladies. They finished the year 19-13. That was our little visit to St. Mary's. And, the great part is St. Mary's, another one of those schools, and this has happened a couple times now, but when we first started the Division I level, I remember taking those trips, and that's what they used to call, at least on the men's basketball side, they were called, guarantee games. They'd pay you to show up, and basically they knew they were going to beat you, so they'd give you, they'd pay your expenses to get there and such. And St. Mary's was one of those schools back in the first couple Division I days. Now, here we are coming back on a level playing field and playing a tournament. Happened a couple years ago as well at Utah State. Same kind of scenario. So you definitely take those steps, and you're making that progress when you start playing these teams that used to pay you money to show up and lose. Now you're paying them, and now you're playing them in tournaments in the postseason. So very good showing for the ladies. Unfortunately, losing that one in the WNIT, their season is over. We're going to step away and take a break. One season that's not over. It's just kind of getting warmed up is the men's track and field season. Bryan Wilmert, who was last week's WAC Thrower of the Week, will join us. He throws the hammer. He throws the shot put. He just throws heavy stuff around. We will chat with him coming up next when we continue. We'll be right back. This is Roadrunner Rundown.
Introducing TBC Mobile from the Bakersfield, California. The most complete news, sports, weather, video, opinion, and lifestyle coverage in Bakersfield and Kern County. It's the easiest way to stay up to date on all things local while on the go. Read it on your smartphone or tablet. Download now by searching Bakersfield Californian in the Apple, Google, and Amazon app stores. Current Business Journal contains news and information from local business leaders and organizations. Topics include agriculture, health and medical, energy, real estate, and more. Visit currentbusinessjournal.com to find out how to subscribe or where to pick up a free copy. To inquire about advertising in the bi-monthly Business Journal, call 395-7586. Find us online on Facebook and Twitter, as well as on currentbusinessjournal.com.
Brave and bold, silver and gold.
We're on a mission. Aggie up.
Bronx Country just got a whole lot bigger.
Mighty Wolverines of UVU.
Join the herd. Lopes up.
Bold moves, big season, grew up.
We are the new gold standard.
We will be champions.
We are the Western Athletic Conference.
Save 50 to 90% with the Bakersfield Californians Daily Deal featured on Bakersfield.com. A daily deal is offered each weekday on services from local restaurants, dry cleaners, health and beauty services, retail shops, and local activities for the entire family. The daily deal is 100% local. Find these amazing deals only at dailydeal.bakersfield.com.
The Roadrunner Scholarship Fund creates educational opportunities for over 300 student athletes at CSUB. By becoming a member and donating to the Roadrunner Scholarship Fund, you're not only helping the Roadrunners fund the scholarship needs of our teams, you're investing in the future. The Roadrunner Scholarship Fund isn't just developing student athletes, we're developing tomorrow's leaders. From lessons learned during competition, for more information, log on to gorunners.com/donate and become a member of the Roadrunner Scholarship Fund.
And welcome back into Roadrunner Rundown, the official program, CSUB Roadrunner Athletics. Thanks so much for joining us on the show. Still to come on the program, Molly O'Hagan will join us, Roadrunners Sand Volleyball, and also Ryan Wigley will join us. He is a assistant coach at Utah Valley, the softball program, which will be in Bakersfield this weekend. He's a Bakersfield guy, though, former coach at Taft College and former coach here in town. So reconnecting with him on the program a little bit later in our Behind Enemy Lines segment. But first, I want to welcome to the show. He's kind of a familiar face because we had him on the program as a thrower in Corey Versus, but he is a junior thrower for the CSUB track and field squad. And Bryan Wilmert joins us on the program. Bryan, good to see you. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
First of all, I want to start with, and I want to let the folks know, you were at USC this past weekend. You and Gabe Holland were the lone representatives of the runners down there at USC, and you finished fourth in the hammer throw, 185.11. That's a pretty big deal. What was that meet like?
It was definitely intense. A lot of good competition there, but we came to compete.
And, with just two guys, it was probably, how different was it? Because normally you show up with the whole team. You've got, your runners, and it was just you guys just showing up to throws. What was that like?
Yeah, it was a bit of a different experience, but normally when we throw the hammer, we usually just show up by ourselves that day, and then the next day we do everything else.
So it wasn't that normal. Now, it's pretty big, though. You took fourth place in that. And so what was that field like? It seemed like it was pretty deep with some pretty big, pretty big name schools in that competition.
Yeah, there were a lot of good schools there: Purdue, USC, BYU, and to come out fourth, I was just really happy with that.
They told me off air I could have done better, but come on, man, fourth place at that meet's pretty good.
I'm definitely happy with that, but you always want to try to get more.
Yeah, well, and this kind of leads me to the next question. You were WAC Thrower of the Week last week. That had to be cool, kind of being your first year in this conference, and to be named a Conference Athlete of the Week has got to be pretty special.
It is. This is a tough conference this year with a lot of good athletes, and when I first got told about it, I was in awe. I really didn't believe it at first.
Well, you're kind of aware with some of the people, because a few of these schools came over from the Great West where you guys competed last year, so you're kind of aware of some of the schools and what they have. But there's some schools you haven't competed against there in the conference this year. So do you kind of know who's out there throwers wise, or are you just kind of waiting and seeing?
Well, a lot of the schools from like Idaho, they haven't thrown yet, at least not that we've known. Mm-hmm. So it's really hard to judge where I'm going to stand at the end of the year, but I do think I'm going to be able to compete well in this conference.
Well, what's changed for you? You were pretty good. You were good last year, but I've seen early on like you're putting up some good marks, second in the conference last year. But what's kind of changed this season to make you that much better?
Well, I'm definitely a little bit stronger, but I think the main thing is my confidence is a little bit better. Tom Judge, he's been the main throw for the last two guys, and now here my junior year, I really have to step it up to kind of replace him now.
Do you kind of feel that maybe because Tom had the marks for 2 years that he had, that maybe there's that mark on your back now that people say, hey, that Wilmert guy, he's the guy now?
Yeah, I do think that, but it's really hard to believe that I'm going to be the one guy that people go after.
Yeah.
I definitely feel like I'm going to be doing really well in this conference, but I'm not going to be the only one on this team.
Absolutely. Bryan Wilmert, our guest here on Roadrunner Rundown. How much as a thrower now, I got exposed to it a little bit when we were messing around trying to throw the hammer. And obviously there's a lot of technique, but how much as a thrower is your success determined like in the weight room as opposed to in practice throws?
Well, the weight room, it's huge. You can have really good technique and still throw far, but you're never going to be able to make it to that next level without hard work and dedication in the weight room.
And you're in there a lot. My office is right by the weight room, and he's in there a ton. And a couple years ago, and you were in there with Thomas a few years ago, he was always in there. So, that has to be a part of your culture, doesn't it?
Absolutely. 4 times a week, you're always in there, always trying to get stronger, trying to get better.
Absolutely. Bryan Wilmert here on Roadrunner Rundown. Now, you were at Liberty High School a few years ago here in Bakersfield. What made you want to come here to CSUB, 4 years later, and throw the hammer? What was your decision process there?
Well, to be honest, I wasn't sure if I was going to throw the hammer coming in here, but, Coach Al thought it would be a great experience for me, would try to help me get better, and I believe that, it took a while, but I am really excelling in this sport.
Well, and you didn't throw in high school, right? They don't throw in high school in this area.
Not the hammer.
So all of a sudden, like you get to college and Coach Colat says, hey, I want you to basically throw this shot put on a string, this shot put on a cable. It was tough when I was just messing around doing it. How long did it take you to kind of get down the technique and all that stuff?
Consistently, it probably took to the end of my second year because it is tough. The technique is very hard to learn. And if you can get it right off the bat, it's very rare that happens.
Yeah, here's we're looking at Gabe Holland, your teammate, throwing here in the pit, and it just it's amazing. I was a train wreck when I was trying to do it. It was just it was a lot of fun though. I was scared. It scared me though. Mm-hmm. That thing scares me. That is it's a medieval weapon basically is what you guys are tossing as here you are in your throw. But so you also played. You also played football in high school, too. Mm-hmm. You still look like you could, by the way, if you like to play football still. Why track over football? Because most people don't make that decision, that choice. So why track over football?
I just felt like I had a better opportunity to succeed in track. Football, I feel like I didn't get into it early on. And I felt like if I had more experience playing that, because my freshman year of high school, that was the first year of playing football I had. Wow. So I was a train wreck too back then. It was just awful.
Yeah. See, speaking of train wrecks, there's me still trying to throw the hammer. Yeah, that's what I do. I make you guys feel better about yourselves by exposing myself to that. As a guy who played team sports like football, and then you go into track, it's so individual. How does that? But there's still, I guess, a team concept when it comes to like your group of throwers and stuff like that. Does it get real centralized around the throwers see themselves as a team, or is it tough to have like a team concept when it's such an individual sport?
I don't think so, because we see each other every week. We try to support each other when everyone's doing their events. So I think that that support really helps us act more of a team.
Yeah, and I want to get to your academic stuff here real quick in our last couple of minutes. What You're a mathematics major still. How's that going for you?
It's going real good. There were times where I thought, why am I even doing this? But, I really do believe that this is what I want to do with my life.
Yeah, you noted before you wanted to be a high school math teacher after college.
Mm-hmm.
You seem far too patient to want to teach high school kids.
I would think that's a good thing to teach high school. It's something you probably need.
You probably need, yes. But I will say this. Ladies and gentlemen, if this guy was your math teacher in high school, I probably wouldn't miss an assignment. All right, I'm just telling you. Like I had a big math teacher too. All right, I'm this guy, Mr. Maynard, by the way, in Tehachapi. I paid more attention in his math class than any math classes when I had the smaller teachers. Because I feel like he could just basically crush me anytime he wanted to. So does intimidation factor? Maybe that'll work for you a little bit as a teacher.
Possibly. I'm not gonna not use it.
There you go. I'm not gonna not use it. That is a great line. I mean, big guy, quiet. Yeah. You're gonna scare some kids. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you right now. Yes.
That's the goal.
That's the goal. That is the goal in life. So there you go, Matt. So math major, and congrats on that. And how tough is it with some of those majors around the season when you're trying to work in your practice times and your meets and stuff? Because you guys get a pretty heavy load of things going on when it comes to math and all that stuff.
Well, the teachers are very good about that.
Uh-huh.
They like to. They know that I'm doing this, and they know they want to be able to work around that, so I'm not missing assignments or quizzes or tests or stuff like that.
Excellent. So far, what's been your toughest math class at CSUB thus far?
Probably Calculus 4.
Calculus 4.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even get to the pre-calculus. I didn't even get that far in high school. And then in college, I made sure I took the major that was the furthest away from math as possible. They take like one little math class as a journalism major. That was my goal. I just not a math guy. But Calculus 4. Well, good luck with that. Did it just happen this past quarter?
Yeah, I just finished that in the fall.
Oh, okay. What'd you get in the class?
I got a C+.
There you go. C+. I would have been, you know what I've been? D+. That would have been me. That would have been me. Bryan Wilmert here on Roadrunner Rundown, Roadrunner Thrower, and WAC Thrower of the Week. Hey, congrats on that. Good luck this weekend. You guys are at San Luis Obispo. You're at Cal Poly.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yep. Well, good luck to you there. Other schools that are going to be there off the top of your head?
I do not know.
Okay. You just know is to show up and throw. That's all you got to
right.
do. Exactly. Bryan Wilmert on Roadrunner Rundown. Hey, thanks for joining us, man. We'll keep tabs on you and catch up there throughout the year.
All right. Thank you.
All right. We'll be right back, folks. When we return, Molly O'Hagan will join us. CSUB Sand Volleyball. That is next. This is Roadrunner Rundown.
Introducing TBC Mobile from the Bakersfield, California. The most complete news, sports, weather, video, opinion, and lifestyle coverage in Bakersfield and Kern County. It's the easiest way to stay up to date on all things local while on the go. Read it on your smartphone or tablet. Download now by searching Bakersfield Californian in the Apple, Google, and Amazon app stores.
Save 50 to 90% with the Bakersfield Californians Daily Deal featured on Bakersfield.com. A daily deal is offered each weekday on services from local restaurants, dry cleaners, health and beauty services, retail shops, and local activities for the entire family. The daily deal is 100% local. Find these amazing deals only at dailydeal.bakersfield.com.
The Bakersfield Californian is a great read on the iPad, but did you know that the Bakersfield Californian is available on your Kindle Fire? Or how about Google's Nexus 7? The Nook? You bet. You can also read a full replica of the newspaper on your Android-powered smartphone, on Apple's iPhone, or on your laptop. We have a solution for any device. E-Edition is free for subscribers, or just $7.99 a month. The Bakersfield Californian. We're everywhere and anytime. Subscribe today. Bakersfield.com.
Kern Business Journal contains news and information from local business leaders and organizations. Topics include agriculture, health and medical, energy, real estate, and more. Visit KernBusinessJournal.com to find out how to subscribe or where to pick up a free copy. To inquire about advertising in the bi-monthly Business Journal, call 395-7586. Find us online on Facebook and Twitter, as well as on KernBusinessJournal.com.
The Roadrunner Scholarship Fund creates educational opportunities for over 300 student athletes at CSUB. By becoming a member and donating to the Roadrunner Scholarship Fund, you're not only helping the Roadrunners fund the scholarship needs of our teams, you're investing in the future. The Roadrunner Scholarship Fund isn't just developing student athletes, we're developing tomorrow's leaders from lessons learned during competition. For more information, log on to gorunners.com/donate and become a member of the Roadrunner Scholarship Fund.
Awful.
And welcome back here to Roadrunner Rundown. Thanks so much for joining us on the program. We are getting ready to start. The season's already started, but in just their second year of existence, we now have a new sand volleyball facility. That means sand volleyball gets to play at home. That means Molly O'Hagan, who is here in studio, gets to play at home. You got to be pretty excited. You guys last year all on the road in your sand volleyball matches, and this year you finally get a chance to be at home.
I know it's exciting. I think we're most excited about bringing sand to Bakersfield because we're not at the beach. You know? So it's exciting to bring the sport to this town because I think it's a great sport and I think it's something that everybody can benefit from coming and watching us. And it's a really fun and exciting game.
And that's you kind of brought up the point why the NCAA refers to it as sand volleyball. Mm-hmm. Everyone knows it as beach volleyball, but the NCAA said, well, a lot of the schools that are carrying the sport aren't necessarily near beaches per se, so they call it sand volleyball, but it's the same sport. But and really cool because we were out at the facility shooting our Corey versus a few weeks ago, and the sand was brought in from San Juan Capistrano, and I'm like finding seashells in the sand, and here we are in the middle of Bakersfield, a couple hours from the nearest beach, and we've got sand with seashells in it.
I know, it's really interesting. We're very beachy here.
It is, and you guys get a chance to practice out there every day. And the facility looks great, and we're going to have video next week on the program. But and there's a story on our website right now on GoRunners.com about Steve Barnes, who is a big supporter of the facility. But you've got a chance to visit a bunch of different facilities on the road, sand volleyball. How do you think our new one stacks up?
I think ours is up there with the top. You know, we've got great sand. We've got great grass. We're closed in. We're going to get a bunch of palm trees. I think it's going to look really, really nice when it's done. So it's making its way. It's progressing, and I think everyone's doing a great job. They're giving us a great facility.
And 3 full courts, and all the nets are trimmed out in blue and gold. Mm-hmm. And Bakersfield looks really great. What's it like? I mean, not only having the competition facility, but to have a facility on campus with real sand you get to practice on. Last year, you guys were always at Truxton Extension, and I'm sure people love driving by and waving and honking as you guys are out there practicing, but now you get an on-campus facility to practice. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's got to be huge as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's great that we don't have to drive to practice. That's nice. And these courts are closer together, so our coach Olivia can instruct across all 3 courts, where last year at Truxton, they're very spread out, so each coach would have to come to each court and instruct there, but we can have kind of a group teaching, group learning session because the courts are closer together.
And so far this season in competition, you and partner Deborah Roger have notched a few wins, right? Mm-hmm. A couple wins under your belt. What's it like working with her this season? Because she's the first time she was your partner this year, right? You had a different partner last year?
Yes, I was with Lisa Barch last year.
Okay.
And so this is my first year with Deb. And, beach is really interesting because, you have to figure out how one other person works, and it's just you two out there. Half the time a coach isn't on the sidelines. Yeah. So we're working together and figuring each other out and getting to know each other better, which is the most exciting part.
And see, last year with Lisa, she was also a setter, so you always had that expertise. You and Deborah are both just raw hitters. So how does that work out in your partnership?
It's good. We take turns. We take turns hitting. It depends on who they pick on serving, realistically. But it's good. We do want to swing. We're a hitting pair. We're a hitting duo. So we want to set each other up to be the most successful, and we're most successful when we're swinging.
And is this and when it comes to the pairings, I mean, is this do the coaches decide this on style? I mean, do you draw straws? Like, how do you, at the beginning of the year, say this is the person I'm going to play with in
we
sand
pick
volleyball?
our favorites.
Yeah, you know, besties on the court.
Yeah. No, normally there's a blocker and a defender that is paired together. So normally a taller person and a shorter person, in Debbie and I's instance. And it's just based on, you know, who communicates the best, who flows the best, who pairs well together. So there's a whole bunch of different aspects that go into the decision.
And how much do you have to almost think for the other person, right? I mean, do you almost have to kind of anticipate where they're going to be, you know, when there's only two of you covering that big court?
That's a lot of things that we practice. You know, we practice what's going to happen. It's a lot of situational things that we practice because, you know, you do kind of have to anticipate what's going to happen because the game goes so fast and there's so much space and only two of you. So we really work on directing the ball towards each other in sand. You want to get the ball closer to your partner so they don't have to go or cover as much distance as we do in indoor. So
Molly O'Hagan here on Roadrunner Rundown. CSUB sand volleyball finally back at home for the first time this week, and then next week as well, next Friday and Saturday, they'll be at home against San Jose State and USC. What's kind of the draw to fans that would want to come out and see, come out and watch you guys play this sport, which is they're familiar with, but obviously watching it live, it might be their first time.
Well, sand volleyball is such a growing sport. It became huge with the Olympics, and it's growing up throughout college. And it's a really fun game to watch, and it's a lot of strategy, and it's a lot of competitiveness, just like indoor. But it's a very different energy outdoors, and you get to really see what's going on in the player's head. It's a lot of cat and mouse. You know, it's one team trying to figure out how to outscore the other team, and it's a really great energy, and it's really competitive, and it's really fun. It really is. It's more. It's outside.
Yeah.
The sun's a factor. You know, it's a battle to the end, but you know we have a great time playing it. So I think we'll be able to demonstrate that, and people have a great time watching us.
And there's no substitutions.
No,
you know, there's none of that. I mean, it's just you and them, 2-on-2.
Yep, it's just you two.
And that's kind of in a sport like volleyball, where indoors there's so many rotations and there's such a team. You know, it's really a team concept, and then outdoors it's just 2-on-2, kind of on an island. So that's got to be a whole different dynamic.
Yeah, and I think the major thing with playing with just one other person is the focus is on you two.
Yeah.
And every serve you're touching a ball. So if you make any mistake, it's like right away you have to bounce back, forget about it, move on to the next play. And that's why the partnerships are really tight relationships because you have to be able to depend on just one other person instead of five to be able to get you back up and playing at a good level. So you know, that's why Debbie and I are working really hard on figuring each other out and how to pick each other up and how to move on to the next point. And it's a very mental game, that's for sure.
There you go. And, you know, you brought up the fact that it's a growing sport. And, you know, what I've liked about it is seeing, you know, the Olympians, those people really help kind of get the sport going. But it's not like they just played in the Olympics and then stopped. Like you guys go to these, these national tournaments or at the Olympic Training Center, and they show up. Those Olympians show up. I mean, you're meeting these people. They're involved with the collegiate game. I mean, that seems to be a big boost to the sport right now.
Oh, it's huge. It's so exciting to see Misty May walking around and interacting with us and talking and coaching. And it's the sand volleyball community is very close and small in a way. I mean, it's not 4 people, but it's smaller. So they're very involved. They want sand volleyball to become a really booming sport in college. So they're wanting to be as involved as possible. And it's great for us to be able to see them and to learn from them. And it's growing our knowledge about the game, and it's growing the sport as well. And
every year it seems like more athletic departments are adding it. So that's always a good sign. Give me your thoughts on the program, just kind of in the improvement as far as maybe your teammates and stuff like that from last year now to this year.
Well, last year was all about learning how to move in the sand first. The first couple of weeks were the prettiest. Yeah. And I think the main thing with sand is you have to have court awareness, you have to have court experience. And we're slowly gaining experience throughout the season. So last year we were going out and our main thing was let's go and compete with these teams. Yeah. And that's what we did. We competed really hard and we won some games, got some matches off some really great teams. And this year, we're just continuing that. We're competing every time we step onto the sand and we're learning and gaining experience every time we play. Whether we win or we lose, we're learning something. And that's the most important thing from going from indoor to outdoor. We're all learning a new sport still. So we're gaining experience slowly but surely and frustrating these teams that are, very distinguished. So
Yeah, and you got a new coach this year, Olivia Simcoe, in charge of the sand. How's and she was a pro in this sport. So what how's she been to work with this year?
She just has so much knowledge, and we're learning something every single day. She really knows how to train very well. We are skill training every single practice, and she sees things that we need to work on, and that's what we're focusing on. So she sees the game really well and is able to give us the knowledge that we need to compete and to win.
And this upcoming year, or you're going to be your senior year is coming up,
yes.
Right? Did you start here when I was? Did I start here when you were a freshman? I probably did.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, we go way back, Corey.
We go way back, way back. Molly was this tall. No, I'm just kidding. Never the case. When she was like 6, she was that tall. But you got a new indoor coach coming in as well, Giovanna Mello. We had her on the show a couple weeks ago, and you got a chance to meet her when she was here. Give me your thoughts on your senior year, new coach, but it seems like there's going to be some excitement still in the program.
Yeah, all the returners, we're ready to get started. We're ready to start working with Giovanna, and she's going to lead us in a really great direction, I believe. She has had great success in the past with her programs, and she's worked at 2-year schools, so that's encouraging to me, knowing, because we have so many new girls coming in next year because we're graduating so many. So she knows how to put a team together quickly, and that's what we need. We need to have team chemistry, team cohesiveness, and we need it early. So it's really encouraging to us to know that she has been able to do that in the past, and she's very successful. She knows she's played at a very high level, and so that's very, very encouraging to us.
And when you guys go from, you don't get much of a break anymore, by the way. No. And you're always playing, it seems like. If you're not in the indoor season, you're getting ready for the sand season. But how much does that, has it helped you, though, A, just kind of always staying in game shape, and then B, just, being a better indoor player because of the sand?
Yeah, sand, it trains our bodies and it trains our minds. It really puts our bodies at a high physical level. The sand is a great conditioning tool, and it improves our jumps. It improves our court awareness mostly, and it improves our on-court relationships as well. We can communicate so much better. We kind of, like you were talking about, anticipating what your teammate's going to do. We can take that from outdoor to indoor, and so our communication has gone through the roof on indoor, and our team relationship has as well.
Does it seem a little easier when you're in the indoor and you have all these other people around you on your side of the court? You're like, oh, I don't got to cover all this ground. This is a piece of cake.
It feels crowded. It really does. We train indoor once or twice a week, and it's like, oh my gosh, there's so many people.
Get out of my way.
This isn't right. Yeah, so it's very different. The first couple of weeks coming back, it's different. So.
Yeah, well, it definitely seems like it's helped. You guys were second place last year, and I fully expect you to pull off the shocker and win the conference next year.
Oh, that's my hope. That's my goal. That's our team's goal. We were second our first year, so we're going to be first our second year in the conference.
There you go. That's a good way to put it. Molly O'Hagan here at Roadrunner Rundown, CSUB Sand Volleyball home match Wednesday, their first, and then next Friday and Saturday they'll be at the we don't even have a name. Did you guys come up with like a name for it yet? We just call it the Sand Courts.
No, that's something that we're going to have to work on.
Yeah, we need to come up with something because it needs a quirky name.
Okay, so we'll work on it. Maybe the Corey Costello Court.
That's a great idea. Huh? This is why Molly is still one of my favorites, everybody. That is why. Very smart. Molly O'Hagan, thanks so much for joining us. Good luck in your home sand volleyball debut.
Yeah, thanks. Hopefully we make everybody proud.
Yeah,
so.
It starts at noon on Wednesday, and then next weekend as well, Friday and Saturday. Saturday starts at 10 a.m., and you can get details online at GoRunners.com. We're going to step away and take a break. Molly, thanks for joining us, and we'll talk again soon.
All right, thank you.
All right, we'll be back, folks, when we return. Our Behind Enemy Lines segment, a local product turned Utah Valley coach. He'll join us next as Utah Valley softball getting ready to come in and face the Runners this weekend. Ryan Wigley is our guest. When we come back, stick around. This is Roadrunner Rundown.
Bakersfield Californian is a great read on the iPad, but did you know that the Bakersfield Californian is available on your Kindle Fire? Or how about Google's Nexus 7, the Nook? You bet. You can also read a full replica of the newspaper on your Android-powered smartphone, on Apple's iPhone, or on your laptop. We have a solution for any device. E-Edition is free for subscribers, or just $7.99 a month. The Bakersfield Californian. We're everywhere and anytime. Subscribe today. Bakersfield.com.
Kern Business Journal contains news and information from local business leaders and organizations. Topics include agriculture, health and medical, energy, real estate, and more. Visit KernBusinessJournal.com to find out how to subscribe or where to pick up a free copy. To inquire about advertising in the bi-monthly Business Journal, call 395-7586. Find us online on Facebook and Twitter, as well as on KernBusinessJournal.com.
I'm Lisa Kirsch. Coming up Wednesday for you on Live Well, senior fitness with a certified personal trainer. We're also exploring 55-plus living communities with a senior real estate specialist. Our Mommy Roundtable is coming back by popular demand. This time we are focusing on surviving and thriving for empty nesters. These topics and much more coming up for you Wednesday on Live Well, only on Bakersfield.com.
Save 50 to 90% with the Bakersfield Californians Daily Deal featured on Bakersfield.com. A daily deal is offered each weekday on services from local restaurants, dry cleaners, health and beauty services, retail shops, and local activities for the entire family. The daily deal is 100% local. Find these amazing deals only at dailydeal.bakersfield.com.
The Roadrunner Scholarship Fund creates educational opportunities for over 300 student athletes at CSUB. By becoming a member and donating to the Roadrunner Scholarship Fund, you're not only helping the Roadrunners fund the scholarship needs of our teams, you're investing in the future. The Roadrunner Scholarship Fund isn't just developing student athletes, we're developing tomorrow's leaders. From lessons learned during competition. For more information, log on to gorunners.com/donate and become a member of the Roadrunner Scholarship Fund.
Welcome back. Final segment of Roadrunner Rundown. Thanks so much for joining us. My thanks to Bryan Wilmert for joining us in the first segment, Roadrunners Thrower and WAC Thrower of the Week from last week. And he can throw heavy objects very, very far. And Molly O'Hagan as well, CSUB Sand Volleyball runners actually getting a home match on Wednesday this week. The new sand volleyball facility, which Molly was going to name the Corey Costello Sand Volleyball Courts. I'm not going to stop her from that, but they're going to get that going at noon on Wednesday. Next weekend, they'll be home as well Friday and Saturday against San Jose State and USC. But it's time now for our Behind Enemy Lines segment. Our next guest, he really isn't an enemy, though, because we didn't hold anything against him, because he is a Bakersfield guy. He is now the assistant coach at Utah Valley, who's going to be in this weekend taking on the Roadrunners in Western Athletic Conference play. Ryan Wigley joining us on the program. Wigley, good to talk to you again, my friend. How you doing?
Good. Real good, man. It's good to hear your voice.
Well, you're the only one that says that, but I appreciate it. And hey, how things going to Utah Valley?
It's the school's amazing. The area is unbelievable. We got some sites that you don't see anywhere else. I'm actually sitting in our dugout right now. We play Idaho State today at home, and I'm sitting here looking at the Whitecap Mountains around the school, so it's pretty nice. Yeah,
I've when I do go up there for basketball, it is one of the it's probably of all the areas in Utah that I've been to, like that is definitely an area I could live in. That Orem Provo area is very cool.
It is. It's neat. Got snow on the top, and I'm in shorts right now, so not a bad day.
Some California habits you just can't break, I guess. Well, you, of course, here, your connections at Bakersfield, longtime coach at Taft Junior College, and then also a lot of things in town. You were one of the proprietors of probably the coolest indoor facility ever at Players Edge. But talk about your time in Bakersfield/Taft and how that's kind of helped you as a coach.
I grew up there, was raised there, and my heart's still there. And always like to see Cal State do well. That'll change a little bit this weekend, but There's a lot of great people there. And I love going back there. I love playing golf, and my brother's family's still there, so get to see them and hang out and being in and around Bakersfield. It's such a sports-friendly town, and there's a lot of people that have gone on and done some great things there and from there, and it's always nice to be able to associate with those people.
And now you're at the Division I level. You, of course, as I mentioned, at Taft College, and then also Division III Cal Lutheran and Division II Colorado Mesa. So was this kind of the next step for you as a coach to get into the Division I ranks and take a position at Utah Valley?
It was it's been a lifelong dream to be at the Division I level, and my ultimate dream was to win a national title at every level. There's a lot of good softball played, and it's been really, really nice to be able to make that jump this early in my career and call this place home, and I can see myself staying here for a little while.
Absolutely. Now let's talk about your Utah Valley squad coming in this weekend, opening up conference play against Bakersfield. Now, you guys overall right now, 7-18. You barely got a chance to play at home. You're one of those kind of northern schools that doesn't get a lot of outdoor time, but you guys a lot of neutral site games, a lot of road games. So what's the early part of the season been like for your team?
It's been we didn't get the start that we wanted. However, looking back, we've played some ranked teams, and being able to take the number 4 team, University of Michigan, into the 6th inning, only trailing 2-1 was quite a feat. And I think that was kind of our turning point with us. And we realized some things, and we're a whole new staff here at UVU. So them getting to know us and us getting to know our players was it's the preseason. It is what it is. It's the preseason. It's for us to figure out things, and now it's time to go. And with that automatic berth into the NC2A postseason through the WAC is very, very appealing. And I think it's right there. So.
And do you guys as a coaching staff have kind of the same approach? Because I know with our team, Chrissy Buck has played a brutal preseason schedule. I mean, she's got a ranked opponent, seems like every weekend, and they have a very similar record to what Utah Valley does. But are you guys kind of on the same approach as well, that it all really going to come down to not only the conference season, but the conference tournament? You want to be playing your best ball around that time.
Well, that's what we kind of laugh at is, you could lose every game in the WAC and still go to the postseason, pending you win that WAC tournament. So, that's not how you want to do things. You want to prepare on an everyday basis to win every game, and that's certainly our goal. But, you put yourself in front of good competition early, and it makes things in the middle a lot easier.
What's it been like, by the way, folks, speaking with Ryan Wigley. He's an assistant coach at Utah Valley. He also is a Bakersfield native, Bakersfield guy, coached here in the area for a long time, and now assistant at Utah Valley, coming into town this weekend, taking on the Roadrunners as they open up Western Athletic Conference play. What's it like for you as a California guy, though? You go to a place like Utah Valley. Well, in California, you can pretty much practice year-round, and then there's something called winter in Utah that sometimes hinders your ability to prepare. So what's that adjustment been like for you as a coach?
Well, going into our first games of the year, we had not been on a field, and we had not been outside even, and so that's definitely something that you accommodate with. Last year at Colorado, we Colorado Mesa, we still had kind of the same deal go on there. It wasn't as bad as here, but when there's a foot of snow on the ground, there's not a lot you can do outside, and unfortunately, winter is nice. Not nice for softball, but it's great for skiing, and it's something I like to do that we didn't have a lot of in Bakersfield. But it's tough. But you definitely take your bumps and bruises early defensively. Getting ground balls on dirt and ground balls off the grass instead of inside on the turf and in a confined area. So it is what it is. I mean, we a lot of these kids are from around here, so they deal with it their whole lives growing up. It's not like I can wear flip-flops to the field every day up here. But
yeah, that probably wouldn't be best. Look at this squad a little bit. Tell us a little bit about your team. I know Haley Koffler was WAC Hitter of the Week this past week, and who are a couple of the players that are standing out early on in your Utah Valley squad?
We've got a good group. As I said before, they're really starting to find each other and figure out what's working best for them. In the circle, Josie Summers, Northern Utah kid, really spins it well, and a competitor, and she doesn't like to get beat. And that's probably more than throwing hard or more than spinning pitches. That competitiveness goes a long ways, and she gives us a really good chance to win a lot of ball games. And as far as the other people, I mean, Bree Gatlin, Palm Springs kid, Palm Desert kid. She's swinging it pretty well. As you said, Haley Koffler, leading the team in home runs and got some ability that you really can't teach, and that's nice to see. But it's a pretty good nucleus. We're pretty spread out as far as the classes go. You've got a sophomore at third base, got a junior at second base, freshman at first base. So it's pretty well spread out.
Well, and a very similar makeup to really what the Roadrunners have as well. So it should be a good series this weekend. Ryan, thanks so much for joining us, man. Enjoy your trip back to Bakersfield. We'll see you at the softball complex on Friday, my friend.
I appreciate you having me, and you guys be good, and we'll see you this weekend.
All right, sounds like a plan. Ryan Wigley here on Roadrunner Rundown. He's a Bakersfield guy, now an assistant coach at Utah Valley. Coming back to town this weekend, they will play at 1 o'clock on Friday, and then a doubleheader starting at 3 o'clock at 3 o'clock on Saturday or 2 o'clock. I'm sorry, at the softball complex. So a couple games on Saturday, one on Friday. This weekend, Western Athletic Conference play opens up for softball. And really, both these teams, Utah Valley and Bakersfield, similar makeup, top to bottom. The Runners have one, standout pitcher in Kelsey Monroe, as is the case with Utah Valley with Josie Summers. And you look at the makeup of the team class-wise, very similar. And they both played very tough schedules. Records are very similar coming in. So should be a great series. And right now you start playing for those seeds in the conference tournament. So they all matter starting on Friday. And again, 1 o'clock Friday's game time. And my thanks to Ryan for joining us on the program and getting some airtime back here in Bakersfield. Thanks so much for joining us, folks, as well. Next week on the program, we're going to have more on sand volleyball. They're going to have 2 home matches next week, so we'll have some coverage of that, and we'll try to track down Steve Barnes as well, who was a big influencer in that facility. We'll chat with him as well, and much, much more as baseball goes to Oklahoma as well, so I'll be on that trip, so we'll have some great stuff the week after as well from the trip to Norman. So join us next week on the program, and also you can get the show anytime online at GoRunners.com, and got our own page, GoRunners.com/rundown. You can get previous editions of the show. Follow us on Facebook as well at Facebook.com/CSUB Roadrunners, on Twitter, Instagram at CSUB Athletics. We got to go. Thanks for joining us. This has been Roadrunner Rundown.